It's cranky. It's great. Come on in. If you are new here, I am Michelle. I'm a certified cruise counselor, Princess Cruise certified expert. I'm a travel agent that specializes in Princess Cruises. It is now the only thing I book just because I've chosen to niche down to just Princess. It's my favorite cruise line. I am a super fan, and it is much easier to do very good service for my clients when I know the product that I'm selling. So, Princess Cruise, I do not work for them. I am a regular travel agent that just chooses to only sell Princess, other than like repeat clients and stuff. Anyway, today we are going to chat about the Dine Line. So this is Princess Cruises dining reservations phone number. They announced it a little bit ago, and there was some hiccups at first. Like, people weren't quite sure what it is, what it can do, what kind of reservations you can make. So I kind of wanted to clarify, if you're having any issues with dining, this is the number to call in terms of making reservations and deciding what to do, like where to eat, that kind of stuff. This is the number to call. So when you can access it, so if you are brand new to Princess, or you are gold or ruby status, you have to wait until your payment is made in full. You cannot access this as soon as you make your booking. You have to have your cruise paid in full, and then sometimes you even have to give it a few days, and then you'll be able to access dining reservations, both on the app and through the Dine Line. Same concept. If you're new here, I feed my daughter during these live chats. I'm a single mom, high needs kid, gotta do what I gotta do. If you are platinum or elite, or you are in a suite, you can make reservations as soon as you make your booking. Is one of the benefits of the loyalty program. I think Princess has the best loyalty program. It's just like, my daughter will be platinum coming up here in the summer. She'll be elite in a few years, like when she's 9, she'll be elite. And there's just such great perks. Anyway, I have a whole video on that somewhere on my channel. But the Dine Line is this new concept to basically give a dedicated phone line, because reservations and the dining is so complicated sometimes. Princess wanted to make it more accessible to people, to be like, hey, if you're having dining stuff, this is where you go. The link or the phone number will be in the description, but it is 1-833-805-DINE. I didn't look up the numbers, like what numbers those ones are, but 1-833-805-DINE. So this is a 24-hour phone line for dining. 24 hours, available anytime. And you can make reservations to almost any restaurant. Last I looked, is the chef's table was not available yet, and some other like more unique dining experiences. But you can do the main dining room, you can do specialty dining, anywhere that requires a dining reservation. So the buffet obviously does not require a reservation. I'll talk about the main dining rooms at the end, about kind of what their system is for reservations and whatnot. And then any casual dining. So Alfredo's, Gigi's, Salty Dog Gastropub, those do not require a reservation. So this is just your specialty dining and your main dining room, and your experiences. So like the chef's table, the Love by Burrito, the Magic, oh my gosh, I lost the name of it. The Magic Show one on the Sun. Anyway. I wanted to say Magic to Do, but no, that's their show. Oh my gosh, it's gonna drive me nuts. It's by Magic Castle. Anyway, it is really gonna drive me nuts, and I can't remember it. Anyway, all those like dining experiences can be booked as well. Other than, like I said, chef's table, and there was a few others that were coming soon. They might be available now, but so how many people can you book? You can book just your own little party. So like, I could call and just book for me and my daughter, but you can also do groups as well. So groups from 8 to 50. So I recently booked, I have a group of 9 cruising coming up here, and so I was able to book them all on the same reservation. Now, mind you, depending on the dining room, you can't always get them all at one table, just depending on logistics. So with this one, they were not able to get them all at the same table, but I'm hoping they'll be like a group of 5, a group of 4 kind of thing, and they're close enough to each other. but you can book large groups together so they're under the same reservation. You can do that as well. So if you are not using a travel agent and you are like, hey, I have this group, I'm traveling with me and my grandkids and my kids, and there's a group of us and there's 10 of us cruising total and we want to all sit together, you can definitely call this line and get all that arranged. I do recommend using a travel agent when you're doing groups just because of the logistics that go with groups, and I love groups. It is like I'm doing a hosted group cruise to Mexico coming up here soon. I have another one to Alaska. Groups are kind of my thing, just because there's so many like intricacies with it, and I just love it. You can do groups. You can also book your Plus and Premier packages through the Dine Line. I thought this was a little interesting, that if you have questions about it or if you want to book it, which I have videos on my channel about the Plus package, the Premier package, and actually coming up this week, I should have a Plus versus Premier coming out if editing goes well. So if you're interested in that, those are on my channel. But you can book your Plus or your Premier package through the Dine Line as well. So if you're like, hey, I didn't add it on, but I want to add it on now, do that. If you use a travel agent, we have access to that. If you're using me as a travel agent, we would have gone over all of that before even making your booking, because I believe in doing the best, which is just booking it right away, especially depending on what promotions are going on. Some promotions you only get if you book it, like you add it on during the initial booking, not adding it on after. You can book the Plus and Premier package. I'm sorry for the shakiness, my daughter's rocking. She has Down syndrome and autism, she's stimming. And so you, some promotions you can't get unless you do it as part of the initial booking. If you are in the new Sanctuary collection with the Sun or the Star Princess, Premier is included in your packages. So if you book a suite with one of those, you can then book all your specialty dining right away, which is kind of cool. But you can add on Plus and Premier once you're on the ship as well, up to the second day. So don't wait till last minute to add it on. I recommend to all my clients to do it at booking, and it's often included in the packages that I create for my clients. And then those that choose to opt out, usually I push for it like shortly after final payment. So that way we can get it all set up and they're good to go. Especially with stuff like medallion shipping, you want to make sure you're not paying for that, for stuff that's included in your packages. So anyway, yeah, so like I said, Platinum, Elite, and Suites, you can book your dining through the Dine Line right away. And then anyone else, if you're brand new to cruising, and you're not booked in a suite, then you can do that after final payment. So in terms of what type of dining, I've talked about it in a few videos, but I want to go over it in this one as well since we are talking about the dining. So the main dining room is now divided into 3 different dining rooms, except for on the Coral class ships. There's only 2 dining rooms, so they've merged them. If you are in the Reserve collection, depending on what ship you're on, sometimes it's a dedicated dining room. Sometimes it's an area in a dining room on the ship. So for instance, Sun Princess, or not Sun, Sky we were just on, it was part of the Estella dining room. There was like a section of it dedicated for the Reserve dining. Whereas like the Sun Princess, you do have an entire area. You have a whole deck actually. The whole dining room area to do that. So anyway, so you end up with 3 options with the main dining room. You have the walk-in option. So no reservation required, you just go and you walk in. We prefer this. We don't like set dining times. We go based off of when my daughter is hungry. We also go based off the menu. My brother is a very picky eater, and so he is like, I don't like anything on this menu. We can easily skip it. My daughter and I are vegetarian. We lean towards veganism. We were vegan. Anyway, veg fluid. And so there is a dedicated vegan menu. So I'm usually fine with whatever. It's more my brother. But we often might be on an excursion so we don't get back in time. We might be hungry at 3 and have a big meal at 3, and then we obviously don't want to be eating at 5. So anyway, we prefer the fluidity of the dining room walk-in option, and that is still available. I will say, if you are a walk-in person, walk in like towards like that 5 o'clock and you won't have a line. If you wait until like peak dining time, you might have a line. But it's usually not too much of an issue. And if you're choosing to walk in, you kind of know that there might be crowds. The other option is you can have a set dining time. So this is something that Princess took away, having a traditional dining room. And now recently with the sun, they found that people were actually liking this because they kind of piloted it again with the sun. And people were like, no, I actually like having a traditional dining time of 5 or 7:30. And so Princess was like, okay, let's do this. So now you can have a set traditional dining time where you have the same table, the same wait staff. And this is honestly my preference for groups, just because for groups, if you are all wanting to eat together, and you know you all want to eat together, it's different if like my hosted group cruise, for instance, we are not eating together. We might eat together occasionally, but it's not like some of the groups that I book that are like, we all want to eat together. Traditional dining is just a little bit better, especially if you have dietary restrictions or allergies in your group. It's harder when you do the walk-in for dietary restrictions, other than stuff that's like vegan or gluten-free, that can eat off the normal menu the dog wants to play all of a sudden. But if you have severe allergies, or you're like, I'm celiac and I need that extra care taken, and I want more options than just what's on it. Oh, thank you so much, Larry. Thank you for the super chat. So if you are like, hey, I want to, the best option is if you book through traditional dining. I recently cruised with a friend that was celiac, and we had great experiences with set dining, to be like, she could pre-order the night before and do all that stuff, because it's just a little bit easier with the set dining. So that's what I recommend, especially for groups, is to have. Good day, Larry. So I recommend having that set dining time. So that is the set dining time, traditional dining time. You have the same wait staff, they can get to know you, all that kind of stuff. And then with the other dining, the third option, so you have your walk-in, which is you show up. You have your traditional, which is your 5 or 7:30 set table, set staff. You also have your reservations. So my dog is gonna drive me crazy because she wants food that's not happening right now. And the child is also crying. And so the third option is your reservation. So on the app or through the Dine Line, you can make a reservation and be able to have either the same dining time, and this is something I love that Princess does, or you can have flexible dining reservations. Some other cruise lines, not gonna name any, but you had to like go on the ship and then call the reservation while you were on the ship and be like, hey, I want it at this time, and like sometimes it's available, sometimes it's not. So I love that Princess, like right now I can go on because I am elite, so I can access dining reservations for all my cruises all the way up to 2027, although I don't know how far. I should actually check and see how far in advance I can book dining, but it says I should be able to book as soon as my booking is made, so I'm guessing I probably can access those now. But I can go on and I can be like, hey, I want to eat at 6:15 every single night, and I can make that reservation. I can have a standing reservation for the same time that's not 5 o'clock or 7:30, because sometimes maybe you eat at 6 o'clock at home and that's what you want as your dining reservation. You can do that through the Dining Line and through the app to be able to have a set dining time that's not one of those traditional dining times. Usually when you do that, they do try to give you the same table and the same wait staff every night. There's no guarantee like there is with the traditional dining, but they usually try to do that if you have the same dining time. If you're all over the place, you're like, I want a 5:30 this day and a 7:30 on this day and a 4:45, there's no 4:45, but 5:45 on this day, you probably won't. They might try depending on how busy they are and stuff, but you probably won't have the same table and same wait staff. But that's the great thing with the flexible reservations too. You're like, hey, on this day, I'm in Rome and I'm not getting back to the ship on time. I'm just going to go to the buffet after. But on this day, I know I'm going to be on the ship and I know we're going to be starving because we're going to skip lunch. So I want a 5 o'clock dining. So you have that flexibility to book those reservations in advance to make sure you definitely have a table to sit at without needing to worry about not having the reservations when you go. You can also cancel fairly easily. You just go on the app. So what we did last cruise on Sky, we made the same dining time, 5 p.m. reservation, not traditional, because we weren't sure which days we wanted to go. We got on the ship and we were like, no, this buffet is awesome. The Royal Class buffets, fantastic. Not so much for me, but my brother really enjoyed it. I love the lunch and the breakfast, not so much the dinner. But anyway, I was not starving. I knew I was not going to starve. So we were like, okay, let's just cancel all our reservations. So we just went on the app, cancel. Because as long as you're canceling, then they can sit other people. And if you don't show up, you even say, for instance, you're on an excursion and you mistrack the time, or you're out on port, mistrack the time, and you're like, oh, I'm actually not going to make it back in time for my reservation, make sure you're back for the ship. The ship will not wait for you. Your dining reservation, what they'll do is if you don't show up, I think within 5 or 10 minutes, they'll just cancel it and let the walk-ins or let people walk in or skip you. I'm not sure how they do that, but because the walk-in is a different dining room. But anyway, they'll just cancel your reservation. So don't worry too much. Whereas traditional, my experience with traditional, when we're running a little bit late, especially if we tell them in advance, we're like, hey, we have an excursion. We're probably going to be out on the ship for 4:30. We should be ready for 5. With traditional dining, even when we were really late, they were really good about it. Obviously, they can only wait so long, but they don't usually have an issue. So yeah, I'm trying to think of what else I wanted to talk about with dining. Yeah, if you're a large group or you have dietary restrictions, especially if you have dietary restrictions in a larger group, definitely recommend traditional or at least the set reservation one. When we have breakfast, we were able to have the same wait staff most days because we got there at the same time every day. And like the wait staff gets to know you and stuff. I prefer breakfast in the dining room. It's just a slower pace, especially with having a child with special needs who is kind of wild in the morning, and it's like, I need drinks for me, drinks for her, bowls for both of us, and plates and stuff like that. The dining room just had like that quieter, relaxed pace, and I do like the dining room for dinner. It's grown on me. I used to be like anti-dining room just because I was like, I need the faster pace and the choice of the buffet, but with the new vegan menu, I really like the dining room. So we'll see on Discovery. We're going on Discovery coming up here in April. If you want to come join us, you can. I don't have group rates per se. I have group rates. I don't have group rooms held anymore. I don't have any group rooms available, but I do have access to group rates still, as they are selling out naturally. Like everyone has access to those rooms now. So I do have, I think last time I checked, there was like 1 or 2 deluxe balconies left, and then some suites. So if you are interested in that, you can come join us. But for that one there, because we were traveling with a group, and my brother, who usually cruises with me and my daughter, my brother has friends on board. So, and I will probably go off to the dining room with some people, and then he can go off to the buffet with his friend. But that's kind of my plan. So yeah, so anyway, let me know in the comments below. Are you excited to have a designated dining line, like phone line to call? Have you had trouble booking on the app? And now it's like, oh, here's an easier way to do it. I love that they made this option. I love it because I can call it as a travel agent. I can call it. Anyone can call it. But for me, when I'm booking groups, it's like so much easier to call this phone number and be like, hey, here's all the booking numbers. I want them all under one reservation at this time. It's so much faster compared to the app where I have to like go in and like manually add a bunch of stuff. And then I also think it's great for those that are not so tech savvy. A lot of my clients are like on the older end of life. I would say the 50 plus is the average. I think my youngest current client that's not cruising with us like on a group cruise, I want to say is maybe 55. I'm not gonna call her out. Not that she watches these videos, but anyway, I scale on the older side of the boomer. Is that boomer still if you're 50? I don't even know. Anyway, I'm an old soul. My daughter loves ABBA, so that kind of tells you where we are. And we love Princess for a reason. But anyway, not everyone is tech savvy, and so the app sometimes can be a bit of a nightmare when it comes to stuff like dining reservations, check-in, and stuff like that. So I kind of don't like that the cruise lines are pushing the app so much. But that's why I love my clients, because I can just go in and do all the things for them. So yeah, so it's just one of those things that I like, that there's a phone number for those who enjoy having their own bookings, don't want a travel agent to do it, who want to do their own reservations and stuff like that. They do have a phone number they can call. They don't have to do it through the app or the website, which I think the website actually pushes you to the app. So if you don't have a smartphone, I have clients that have flip phones. You can't do an app on a flip phone. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much, Larry, for the super chat. And if you are interested in more Princess Cruise stuff, subscribe. Like I said, Princess Plus and Premiere should come out Wednesday. And then my final Royal Caribbean vlog comes out Friday. And then we are 100% Princess. Mistakes were made when you book tours in advance for cruises. Sometimes you realize you don't like a cruise line, but you have a bunch booked. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and we will see you guys later. I'm hoping to do lives every other week. Every week was getting a little too much. I just don't always have so much to talk about, and then also just life and whatnot. So anyway, in 2 weeks, let me know in the comments if there's something that you're like, hey, Michelle, I really want you to talk about this during a live, and I will see what I can do. Okay, bye guys. Bye. Adios.